so today we are going to be talking about direct objects and looking at a few different types of sentences than we've been studying so far. Before we get started with direct objects, take a look at the questions you're going to want to know by the end of this video. Make sure you understand what a transitive active verb is. Next, you're going to want to know what a direct object is. And last but not least, you're going to want to make sure you understand what questions a direct object answers in a sentence. Alright, so let's get started. So far, all the sentences we have been diagramming have been the same. All of these sentences have contained intransitive complete verbs. Intransitive is a tricky word, so let's break it down. Intransitive has the Latin root in it, meaning not, and trans, meaning across or transfer. So all the verbs that we've studied so far, which are intransitive complete verbs, are verbs that are complete in their action and do not need to transfer their action to something else. Intransitive complete verbs do not transfer their action. A great example of an intransitive complete verb would be smiled. So taking a look at the sentence, Lucy smiled, we can see that Lucy is a subject and smiled is an intransitive complete verb because there is nothing that smiling is transferring its action to. So we know how to diagram this. Take a look at the diagram below. Okay, it's time to learn about a new verb. The verbs we're going to learn about today are called transitive active verbs. And transitive active verbs are verbs that transfer their action to something else in the sentence. This something else in the sentence has a very important name. Let's figure out what that something else is. Alright, so drum roll please. That something else is the direct object. Direct objects answer the questions what or who does the verb. So let's take a look at the sentence below. She fed the cat. She is the subject. Fed is the verb. And fed what? What did she feed? She fed the cat. So the cat is the direct object. This cat is the direct object because the transitive active verb fed transfers its action, feeding, to the object, the cat. It's important to remember that the direct object will always answer who or what and will come directly after the verb. However, you have to be careful that you don't become a robot and confuse adjectives or adverbs for direct objects too. So make sure you are always thinking about whether or not the verb in front of the direct object is a transitive active verb. Is it transferring its action to another noun? Guess what? We have another noun job. The direct object will always be a noun, and therefore it is a noun job. Alright, so here's one last important reminder. Remember how when we talked about prepositional phrases and finding subjects and how it can be tricky to find the subject when there are so many different nouns in a sentence? Remember we mentioned how the subject of the sentence can never be found in a prepositional phrase? Well, guess what? The same applies to a direct object. A direct object can never be found in a prepositional phrase. So if there is a noun that answers the question who or what, and it's in a prepositional phrase, it most likely is a prepositional phrase that is acting as an adjective. That noun will never be the direct object. So make sure you remember that direct objects will never be found in a prepositional phrase. Alright, so now that we have finished talking about direct objects, I want you to be sure to do the exercises that were assigned in class for homework and be prepared to discuss the diagrams for tomorrow's class. As always, thanks for watching Little Language Artists.